Good morning everyone from Hua Hin, and welcome to today's video where I am going to do a Q&A. So I put an Instagram story out the other day and mentioned that we were leaving Thailand next week and wanted to just make sure that I've covered any questions that you guys have got about Thailand from literally anything. I said no questions too silly, no questions too personal, just ask away. So I'm going to run through some of those questions. There were a lot of like repeat questions, so there's obviously things that you guys particularly want to know. So we're going to run through those today and I'll try to answer them as much as I can. If I haven't got to your question or like you can't hear your question in particular, leave it in the comments. I tried to go through as many as I could. I've clumped them together, but I've got a whole list here of questions that you guys have asked me. So let's just get straight into it. I'm going to do first, I've got like the personal questions, so some more personal stuff about us, and then some more like information questions, things to do with like healthcare, schooling, socializing, transport, blah, blah, blah. And then I have also go on to like locations, accommodation and money. So let's start at the top. So first question was, just wondering why you are leaving. It sounds amazing. Why would you want to leave? So we are leaving Thailand. It was always the plan. We came back in September 2024, I think. And then that is when we came back and we were like, hey, we're ready to settle for a bit. So we actually took out a visa. So we were in a position where we either need to extend our visa, pay to extend our visa, or we leave. And we were weighing up, do we want to stay, do we want to go? And we ultimately just decided that we think it's time for a new adventure. There's lots of places we want to visit. It was the plan to always travel. So the plan wasn't actually to just come and live in Thailand. That's just kind of what we fell into, but we'll see. And I'm not going to say that we'll never come back to Thailand, because we probably will. The next question is, where are you going next? So next Thursday, we are going to China. We're going to Shanghai. We're doing the 10-day transit visa. We're going to Disneyland. We've got loads of stuff planned. I'm very, very excited for it. I've never been to China before. And then we're going to South Korea, and we're going to spend 3 months in South Korea. We're doing Seoul and Busan. We have now booked it. And then one on Instagram, because I wanted to touch on this because I know a lot of people that follow me also do social media. So how did you grow your Instagram following so successfully when other travelers struggle to? And this, I could go into a whole spiel. I originally started doing Instagram back in, so I left in January 2024 from England, and I'd started doing content maybe in like September, October of 2023, a lead up to us leaving. So it was about packing, moving, all our house stuff, and I was just vlogging all of that. I had intention that I was going to carry on vlogging whilst we travelled, but there wasn't that many people that were doing it, especially in the style that I did it, which was like a montage with a voiceover. And I just thought, I do this already at home because a lot of lifestyle creators do this. Why not do it for travel? So that's what I did. And I did blow up very quickly. I was gaining followers like I was not prepared for it. I thought I was going to get like a couple thousand followers maybe at home. I think I'd set a goal that I wanted to reach like 20,000 followers by the end of the year. And I hit 100,000 followers within like 3 months. But with that came a lot of responsibility. I have always tried to just be myself. I don't put on like a fake personality. I show up as I show up. I hope that all makes sense. But I think ultimately I blew up because I was very early in the game. I was doing something that not many people were doing for travel. And I think people really connected with me just as a normal person who wasn't trying to sell you something. That's enough about me. Let's move on to some more information-based stuff. So jobs that you can do in Thailand. By the way, I haven't prepared any of my answers for this. I've just literally sat in soft play, gone through all of the messages and just quickly written them down. Thailand is really strict on the kinds of jobs that you can do. So things like core type jobs, anything to do with construction, anything to do with beauty or hair, those jobs are restricted to Thai nationals only, and you cannot work in that field. I don't really know, I've never heard of what actually happens to people, but you're not allowed to do those jobs. You'll get your visas taken away. You can't work if you don't have a visa. The easiest way into Thailand in terms of like jobs is if you have your own business or your own job. So people might open shops, they might open restaurants. Job-wise, I don't actually know of many foreigners who can actually successfully go into Thailand and get jobs per se. You're not going to find them working in like coffee shops. You may find people in hotels. Hotel jobs, they often help with visas. Also, if you're working in some kind of like tech or business role, then you might be able to transfer to a company that's based in Thailand. That's probably your best option. Oh, also schools. I don't know how I've forgotten that, but schooling, lots and lots of foreigners work here in international schools, local schools, teaching English, teaching primary education, tutoring, things like that. So that's probably the most easiest, I say in quotation, I don't know how easy it is to actually get jobs. Healthcare in Thailand for a family. Healthcare here, I have sung it from the rooftops, is amazing. When you come here, you will have 9 times out of 10, you should have private health insurance, and that private health insurance will then cover you for private hospitals. A lot of people say to me, oh, the healthcare is only so good because you get to go to private hospitals and you're paying for that, like locals don't get that. I'm not a local, I am a foreigner, and I do have healthcare, private healthcare that I pay for. Yeah, the healthcare here is amazing. I would not fault it. I would never go home to England to use the NHS. People say to me all the time, oh, wait till you need the NHS. I don't need the NHS. I don't want the NHS. I want the private healthcare that you get here because it's honestly amazing. One is international schools and homeschool community. So in Thailand, there's a lot of international schools here, especially in like places like Koh Samui, Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Hua Hin, where we are now. Lots and lots of international schools. There'll be mixtures of British curriculum, French, sometimes like Swedish, and some of them will also mix. There'll be bilingual schools, that's also one to look out for, and that's where they teach in Thai and English, and they separate the children based on like their backgrounds. I found one in Koh Samui that was really good. International schooling is still expensive, but it's a lot cheaper than it would be in places like the UK. So places I've looked at, you're probably looking at about, I don't know, from £1,500 to maybe up to £3,000. I'm just plucking that out of my head off of schools that I've gone to visit per term. So that's per, 3 months. And then they have their holidays as well. So if you're looking at international schooling, that's the kind of costing that you're going to be looking at. And then homeschool communities, we homeschool, we have always homeschooled. Oh my God, have I just got rid of all those questions? Oh no, I thought I'd just delete them. We have always homeschooled, we've never put the kids into school. And we tend to find homeschool communities, some places are more rare than others, some are more filled than others. So places like Chiang Mai, you have a lot more homeschoolers up there, a lot more people pass through Chiang Mai. Bangkok, I imagine that there is a lot, but we personally haven't really dug into the homeschool community in Bangkok. Hua Hin, there is a lot. There's so many people here and there's so much going on. There's lots of activities during the week for the kids to get involved in. And then Koh Samui I actually really struggled with, and that I was really open when we left there. That was one of the main reasons that we actually left Koh Samui, because a lot of people go to Koh Samui and they put their children in school. So Monday to Friday, 9 till 3, 3:30, whatever, you don't get many school-age children around. It's quite a struggle. But then going up to Chiang Mai, we found science classes, maths classes. Coming down to Hua Hin, I've never been so busy in my life. So there's so many people here. We've had a really good circle of people. And yeah, I can't fault the homeschooling in those places. So then moving on to how to help your children make friends and socialise. So I always say that I am one of the most extroverted introverts ever, because I love being out and socialising, but I also hate being out and socialising. But if you are going to be homeschooling especially, you need to push yourself. You need to push yourself out of your comfort zone. You need to make friends yourself, and you need to go and find people. People aren't just going to come and land in front of you. You need to find homeschool meetups, you need to find groups, classes, anything that you can go to, and you need to find children, how to find other mums to connect with. I have found 99.9% of my friends through Instagram, and it's just been from posting on Instagram. I then set up a WhatsApp group with loads of different families, lots of mums in there, but there's also dads, and we just, it's broken down into locations. So if you're going to a location, we just jump into that WhatsApp group, and then we'll all start talking and say, hey, does anyone want to meet? And that's how I've met friends. And just following other people on social media, finding other people in the same location and just reaching out and saying, hey, I'm going to be in this area if you want to meet up for a coffee and like take the kids to the beach or whatever. And that's really how I've just made all of my friends, is through social media. Honestly, everybody's so lovely, and everybody is in the same boat. Everyone's looking for friends. Everyone's looking for connections for their kids. So don't be shy or weirded out about just reaching out to people, because it's really common. It's so common to be just like randomly voice noting somebody that you've never met in your life and making this massive connection. And then hopefully one day you'll be in the same place and you can go out. And we've been to beach clubs, we've been to a winery, we went out for a spa day the other day, just with the mums without kids. And that's been really lovely. Thailand with allergies. We personally don't have allergies, so I'm not the best person to speak about on this. But from my experience of shopping in Thailand, supermarkets like Tops, they do have like allergy sections, so they will sell like things for celiac. They do a lot of, actually Thailand is really advanced, I would say, on milk allergies. So they sell a lot of oat milk, goat's milk, yogurts, coconut-based yogurts, and things like that. So in terms of like shopping actually in supermarkets, really, really easy. There's also, if you're going to places like Bangkok, Hua Hin, Samui, Chiang Mai, I know I always mention those places, but they're just very popular. They will have restaurants that are vegan or gluten-free or things like that. Transport long term, we have always rented cars, only because we like the idea that it's not our car, and if anything goes wrong, we just pick up the phone and say, hey, something's happened, can you come sort the car out? A car rental in Thailand can cost anywhere from 8,000 baht a month to 20,000 baht a month, depending on what you want, how long you want it for. The longer you can rent the car for, the cheaper you can get it for. Everyone drives around in a banger, and that's normal. So yeah, we've just always rented. We have international driving permits. You can also get a Thai license if you're going to be here longer term, which I've heard is relatively straightforward to get. But we just drive with our international driving permits, and that's how we've personally been doing it. Visas. So again, I'm not a visa expert. So I'm recording this on the 25th of February 2026, so double check, because if you're watching this at a later date, like the rules might change, who knows. But at the moment, as of today, you've got the tourist visa, which you get 60 days on entry. You don't have to do anything for that. You can just turn up and they'll give you 60-day stamp. And then after 30 days, you can go to immigration, you can fill out a form, and they'll give you another 30 days on top of that 60 days. We've always booked a exit flight for 90 days after we arrive. Some people say, do you need it for 60 days? But 90 days, we've never been questioned. You don't always need that. I just always err on the side of caution. That's your tourist option. You used to be able to do border runs. Border runs are a little bit icky at the moment. I wouldn't recommend them, but likewise, you probably can still get away with them. I just don't want to advise someone to do them and then you get pulled up at immigration. But you can get 90 days, very easy. It's very easy to get the extra 30 days as well. You just need to go to immigration and do a couple of bits. You've then got your DTV. If I was to go back, DTVs weren't as big when we were applying for a visa. If I was to go back, I would have done a DTV. That's a digital nomad visa. You just need to either own a business, own a company, or actually work for a digital nomad business, basically. Like you're a remote worker, that's what I'm trying to say. And you can get a 5-year visa. That's, as far as I have seen, pretty straightforward. You just need to show contracts. If you own the company, then you can show that, and proof of funds that you can actually support yourself while you're here in Thailand. Your family can piggyback onto the back of that as well, and then you can get your spouse visas, kids visas, etc., etc. We are on a business visa, which is a little bit more complicated. You do need to set up a Thai company, and you do need to have somebody who can own 51% of that company. We actually have family in Thailand. I don't think I've ever spoken about that, but yeah, we have family in Thailand. I have a follow visa, my kids have follower visas, and that lasts for 1 year, and every year you can renew it for, I think, as long as you want. I'm not sure if there's restrictions on that. We've only ever done the first year now. So And then there's other things like the education visa. Education visa I'm not too clued up on. I just know that if you're going to be doing Muay Thai, cooking or Thai language, then you might be eligible to get a visa for doing that. I don't know how it works, so you'd need to look into it. But they're the main visas that most people tend to have when they're here in Thailand. Best place to live long term. This is subjective to what you want and what you need. I know a lot of people live in Koh Samui. A lot of people are happy to go to Koh Samui. It's very westernised. You will send your children to school. You can work in really pretty coffee shops. The beaches are amazing. The houses are amazing. The life's amazing. It's a little bit more expensive. There's lots of expats there. You'll make lots of friends, lots of community in terms of mums that also send the kids to the same schools and things like that. And that's a really, obviously, amazing lifestyle. Like, if I was going to put my children into school, Koh Samui would be somewhere that I would honestly look at living. You've then got places like Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai is a really good place, like a hub to live in if you want to homeschool. If you're not too worried about the beach, then that's a great place to live. You've also got Hua Hin, which is where I am now. I wasn't too sure about Hua Hin. I'm going to go into Hua Hin in a minute because I've actually got questions about that. But yeah, Hua Hin's great, beaches are lovely, the community here is really great as well. Same with places like Krabi, Phuket. Long term, those are kind of the places that I think a lot of people would tend to live. It's quite livable is what I'm trying to say. They're livable places with comforts and communities. Difference between Hua Hin and Koh Samui is like I feel like I'm a parrot at the moment, I'm just repeating what I'm saying, but Koh Samui, life there is amazing. It's beautiful. It's a little bit holiday, but still that island vibe. Whereas Hua Hin is a city. It's less island vibe. There's more built up area. Beaches are in Hua Hin not as nice. The tide comes in a lot. There's a lot more like waves. You don't really get waves in Koh Samui. Outside of the centre of Hua Hin is really lovely. A lot more rural, a lot more Thai. In Hua Hin is very expat, it's very Western, lots of Brits, Germans, lots of Australians actually coming over now. But yeah, let me go into the next question just so I can talk about Hua Hin. So someone said, my take on Hua Hin compared to other areas of Thailand. I like Hua Hin for the community's been amazing. We've actually found some amazing little spots. There's a beach called Khao Takiab and we have been obsessed with it. We go there pretty much every day now. We found things like crab release. We found places like Lot Camp and Trio where the kids have so much fun. However, the centre of Hua Hin, actual Hua Hin strip, I have not gelled with personally, and it's only because it's very holiday vibe. Lots of people on holiday here, and there's lots of Western culture that I wanted to leave behind is here. Children are allowed to exist. Children are allowed to come to family restaurants. Children are allowed to play. Children are allowed. Thais love children. If you go to a restaurant with children in Thailand, they will be playing with your children. They'll be talking to your children. If your children are running around, no one bats an eyelid. It just seems to be here. I also felt it a little bit in Koh Samui where I felt like I wasn't maybe invited to places, or I wasn't so welcome to places, not invited. I wasn't so welcome to places, not because of the Thais, but because of the Westerners that go there. That's just my experience. Everybody will have a different experience. That's just what I've found. Oh, there's a giant bee trying to get in my room. That's just what I found. And it wouldn't put me off staying here. It would just make me think that I would live outside of the centre of Hua Hin, and if I needed to come into Hua Hin, then I would, and I maybe wouldn't eat and play around in Hua Hin so much. I don't want to be negative about it. It's a really lovely place. I wouldn't be put off at all. I would just be conscious that you will not be leaving behind the Western culture of children should be seen and not heard here in particular. And that's my only gripe with it. Everything else, lovely. Found beautiful beaches, amazing community. And also, it's the minority of people. It is a minority. It's only happened a couple of times, but I've been here for half the amount of time that I spent in Chiang Mai, and not one single person ever asked us to ask our children to be quiet. Just saying. So, How to find best long-term accommodation. I always shout from the rooftops, especially about Thailand, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups. There are hundreds of them. Just type houses for rent in Hua Hin, houses for rent in Koh Samui, houses for rent in Chiang Mai. Do your due diligence, like if it feels dodgy, if it feels off, it might be. See if you can find recommendations on the person. A lot of it will be agents. 9 times out of 10 you won't get through to a landlord. It'll be an agent who posts all these properties that they rent. Try to go and see them. So if you're going to stay somewhere long term, go stay a couple of nights, try and see a couple of properties, because you can turn up, things can be dirty, things can be mouldy. We've had experience with that. But yeah, we've always found them through agents, through Facebook, all of our properties. I don't think I've actually rented on anything other than that. Is the weather unbearable in April? I won't lie, it's hot. It's very hot. It's not unbearable, but you're not going to be sitting around the pool all day or going to the beach all day. You will need to find things to do indoors. I'm talking specifically actually here about Koh Samui. I've only done Koh Samui in April, but it's hot. You need to just be sensible, sun protection, water, drink a lot, and take breaks to go inside. 7-Eleven is a good one for that. Just go in to use their aircon. It is hot. It's not unbearable. I wouldn't let it put you off, but it is hot. And then finally, and this is obviously always our biggest asked question, how much would you need to live comfortably? So when we first set off traveling, we used to track how much we spent. We used to have a budget in mind. However, as we've gone on and life is just kind of normal for us, we don't really track it anymore. So I'll go off of what we used to do. We used to budget £80 a day for traveling, and that was what we used to try and stick to. So that would cover us for car hire, accommodation, food, drink, activities and whatever. And some days we would be way over and sometimes we would be way under, and we'd try and balance it out. But 80 was what we used to try and stick for. I tend to spend £30 to £40 a night on accommodation. That would be for like a 2-bed place, hotel, condo, whatever you're kind of looking for. And then food wise, we tend to eat breakfast in, and then we'll pick lunch or dinner that we go and eat out, and that will be like either a restaurant or street food or whatever. And then lunch we'll tend to try and keep to like a 7-Eleven lunch, or we try to make as much food as we can really. Activities, that's where you're going to rack up. Travel also racks up, so that's why we travel slow, because things like flights rack up. If you're only going to fly somewhere and you're going to spend £400 on flights just to go somewhere for 2 weeks, that's expensive. We tend to fly somewhere, go and spend like £400 to fly somewhere, but we'll stay there for 3 months, and then over 3 months that obviously evens out quite a lot. So that's my best advice, is obviously to just try and stay in places longer term if you can, or pick a country and stay there as long as you can. But yeah, £80 a day. I'll break down actually the accommodation costs that we used to spend in each place, because I think that might be quite helpful. We lived in Koh Samui. We originally lived there in a 2-bed villa with a shared pool, and that used to cost us 48,000 baht a month. You'll need to do the conversions on this. I don't know off the top of my head. And then we moved to a 2-bed villa with our own pool, and that used to cost us 55,000 baht a month. And that was in a really nice area. That was a very, very lovely condo, but that was quite a Western condo. The other one was a little bit more Thai. In Chiang Mai, we stayed at Chiang Mai's more condos. We stayed in a condo complex, and it was brand new. And that was 2-bedroom with a pool and a fitness room and a library and a lounge and all the bells and whistles. And we paid 30,000 baht a month for that. Now in Hua Hin, again, we're in a 2-bed condo with about 10 swimming pools and a splash park and a gym it's okay, it's not all that. And we pay 26,500 baht per month. A lot of people say to me, well, how much does it cost for a 2-bed condo in Koh Samui, for example? And it's like, well, it could cost you 20,000 baht a month, or it could cost you 100,000 baht a month. It depends what you want, it depends what you're looking for, but it's such a big window. Because equally, if you could spend £10 a night on a hotel, you could also spend £1,000 a night on a hotel. So it depends what you're looking for. It depends on your needs and what you want to spend and what your budget is as well. We've stayed in budget places when we don't have the budget. We've stayed in luxury places as well when we do have the budget, or if it's comped for us. Yeah, hopefully that covers kind of how much you need to spend. If there's any specifics you want to know, like how much do meals cost, meals can cost anywhere from £5 to £30 for us to go out to eat. It depends what we're eating. We tend to spend about £15 on dinner, and that'll be all of us eating quite a good meal. If you want to go, I actually find markets really expensive because I'm like, oh, I'll buy this, oh, I'll buy this, oh, I'll buy this. It can be cheap if you're just going to buy one meal. A Thai meal will probably cost you anywhere between 50 baht to 100 baht, depending on where you are. Chiang Mai is a lot cheaper, Koh Samui is a lot more expensive. Rural, if you've got to go more rural, you're going to get it cheaper. If you're going to stay in the more tourist hotspots, then it's going to be more expensive. Hoping that I've covered all of the questions. That's everything that I wrote down. If I've missed anything that you want to know, please put them in the comments. Rambled on for nearly 40 minutes here. I'm going to edit this and hopefully it goes a lot shorter. I hope that helps, and I hope that you will come along and join us as we go into China. Really excited to show you China. Really, really excited to show you South Korea. And yeah, have a lovely day. Goodbye.